Hello, my dear Sofia. How are you?
Excellent, excellent.
It's so good to be here with you because, I mean, we have traveled together. In fact, we met in Egypt. But I mean traveling also as through life, sharing some things through life. And well, what we lived in Egypt, I think, was so strong, at least for me. I know also for you, but I know for the rest of the group because there were several people there also. But at least what I shared with you had such power that it has been rippling out through the years. I mean, through time, it has been rippling out for me, and it has showed me deeper and deeper dimensions of myself, life. And when I say myself, I'm speaking also multidimensional. What I'm trying to say is that the impact of what we had, of what we lived, is beyond this physical dimension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it opened an access point into multidimensionality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And a remembering, for sure, going back and all the ceremonies we did in the temples, and
Yes.
but it was also a collective reunion.
A collective reunion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because each of us came there knowing that we needed to be there for the ceremonies that we did, and
Yes.
um,
How did you learn about that trip to Egypt with Moira Timms? Because it was around more or less her book and what she have been studying about the raising of the Djed. And for those who may listen to this, the raising of the Djed is the column of Osiris, which was scattered, but now we have to remember it. We have to remember the Djed to build again that column of light that unites Earth and the center of the galaxy, or the Earth and the heavens.
yeah, so it was with Vanda Osmon, who was the coordinator of the tours, and then Moira. It was to do that particular ceremony for raising of the Djed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in her book, I think it was Prophecies and Predictions.
Prophecies and Predictions.
Right. It was an alignment that was happening like for a 25,000 year alignment,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the raising of the white sun. And do you remember that?
Right.
I know,
Right.
it was like hundreds of years ago.
Right. Because we were just in front of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
That morning.
Yeah, that morning, that pause of the Sphinx. I mean, that was so incredibly powerful.
Yes.
And of course, we can't forget to mention that we were in front of the Plaza of Sphinx after we had spent the night in the Great Pyramid.
Yes.
In Giza Plateau.
Yeah.
And had amazing, what I don't know, protocols, ceremony. I don't know. To me, that was where I really understood the power of the pyramids. It wasn't just what the standard stuff is to me.
Yes, the standard narrative that says that they were
Yeah.
built for this and that. I mean, what we want to share really is our experience in such a places, in such a specific times, because that was Spring Equinox.
Yeah.
That was the night, all the night of the 20th March 1997.
Yeah. I know, so long ago, but it's still the resonance of it and the ripple. I still feel that it courses through my life. It's made such a huge impact. I always like, if I go to compare it, it's like life before and then life after.
Yes.
And
Right.
really becoming a completely different being after that experience. I mean, that's the best way I can say it.
Yes. but it was not only the Great Pyramid. We were also at Luxor, and we were
Oh,
also throughout the Nile, through the temples, and these places, and specifically the special moments we have in those temples, because Vanda was also looking for us to be there, before the tourists and in special moments. I remember perfectly at Karnak, when we went into this little dark hall where the statue of Sekhmet is. Do you remember that?
yeah, I absolutely remember that.
How you get into this place and all of a sudden the statue, which is more than a statue, starts appearing as your eyes get acquainted with the darkness of the place, right?
Yeah.
And the column of light that just comes down directly to the statue.
But when you think about just the alignment of the timing, that for that light to come in, for the activation to happen within that temple and that presence, to me it was definitely a transmission, because I've had different experiences since then with Sekhmet in a very, very powerful and profound way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even Luxor, you were there behind me, holding me when I was.
Well, what happens? We have to say that we were wearing our Egyptian clothes. You remember?
Yeah.
And we were with the group standing just in the entrance to the temple, and all of a sudden, for some reason, you stand before the obelisk at the entrance, and your whole body began shaking quietly, and then more and more and more and more and more. And that's when I noticed that I needed to hold you.
Yeah,
you were completely.
I remember standing in front of that, and it was like someone plugged me into an electrical socket. And that's what it felt like, the charge, the energy of it. And of course, my whole body was vibrating. And I know that then I just left. I just left my body. I was just popped right out. And the energy was so beautiful and so refined. And I remember going into this dimension of light, that this color I have looked for everywhere since it doesn't exist here. I have tried to find that color, and I have, anyway. But this dimension of light and the love and the connection was so, life-changing for me. I can still feel that energy from that time spot of space. But when it came through, then I don't know what happened. I know you were behind me, and then there were some other people behind you, and like everybody got plugged in, I think, at that point.
Yes, because we noticed how you were vibrating, how your body was vibrating, and at a certain point it was so strong that I noticed, I thought I felt the call just to sustain you, and you were shaking so strongly that Vanda was holding your feet and telling you to get grounded, and I was just being there and holding you. But at the same time, what I noticed is that you had to breathe in a more rhythmic way in order for you to, I will say, to come back or to align again to your physical body, to be again in the confines of your physical body. So I was kind of breathing near your ear so that you get the rhythm, and you started moving with that, and after that happened, that's when you opened your eyes again.
So I remember being like maybe 50 feet up above the ground and looking down and seeing the group around us, because there's like other people, like
Yes.
created like a little bit of a
Yes.
incident, right?
Yes.
Because it was no longer just our group. There were other people, and I remember being able to look down and see all these people all around me.
Uh-huh.
And I, at that point, was laying on the ground. And I remember Vanda telling me to get back in my body, like just to get back in my body, right? Yes. And I didn't want to. I was in such a state of bliss and joy, like unbelievable joy. And the color was just all around and everywhere, but I could still, like a bird's eye view, seeing the group around and seeing the, my body, and then her telling me over and over. And then I think she started slapping my feet, and then I think Diana put oil on my feet, maybe, right? Uh-huh. And then put it on my head, and then I slammed back into my body. I remember it wasn't a very pleasant, it was just like a slam. And then I opened my eyes, but just before I came back in, I could feel the concern of everybody, right? Everybody was like concerned, and I was fine. I mean, I was totally fine, but I remember being in that place of feeling the energy of the concern of everybody. And then when I came back in and I opened my eyes, I was so happy. I was so happy. It's just like, I've been on fire. And that really, I think that for me was preparatory for the other things, for my other experiences that I had after that. Yes. And looking back, I can say that now, looking back, during the time I had no idea. It was just one of those like electrical, I can call it electrical because that's what it felt like. And then Vanda was awesome. Because then she had me go to the statues and like touch the feet of the big giant statues, and
oh yes,
look at your feet, walk on the ground, like keep breathing. And before we actually went into the temple area. But was that after Sekhmet?
That was after Sekhmet, because Karnak and Luxor are very near. Yeah. And we went
first, like right over, like if you're going, it's over to the left. Yeah, because I think that's what I felt like I had my initiation with Sekhmet.
Absolutely. Well, right? Of course, we all experienced that. It was so powerful, very individual experience, but it's I felt with Sekhmet such a power, but a very royal power, kind of. I mean, it's unbelievable, but also very, very a very compassionate heart, a very strong way of being present in life. Such a powerful presence. That's what I felt. And after that, after Egypt, I had several experiences through the years where I have felt that presence in my life. For example, when I decided to divorce, it was there, that power. Yes, because I knew, I will tell you the experience. Some years after Egypt, I got married. And after that, what happened is that I had my 2 kids, and 7 years after my marriage, or 8, things were not very good. We were trying our best. It didn't work. But one night, I just felt some thirst, and I went to the kitchen and walking through a little corridor between our rooms, and the kitchen, I just saw a flaming panther. You know, it was a kind of a violet and a very orange flame, and within that flame was a black panther, which is Sekhmet, of course. And the moment I saw it, I felt that power, and I just felt it's time for you to decide. So do it, you know, don't postpone, just decide, take that decision. And I decided to divorce, of course.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And so with Sekhmet, as far as when I went, because we got that group, right? But then we got to go individually in with her, right? Do you remember that?
Yes. So
when I went in, and Vanda had talked about, you know, that she's burning your past, burning like your life, right?
Right.
And that you could offer whatever you wanted to offer to her, so to clear that. And when I went in, I thought, okay, you know, she's about clearing. So I asked, you know, just to burn whatever, clear whatever that was holding me back, and anything that wasn't serving me, and for my highest good, and everybody, and for everybody, right? That I was connected with. And I had gone to my knees and bowed to her. And when I sat up, I looked and I saw the fire in her eyes. Like fire was like, I was so shocked, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was like a video projection, and I'm thinking, oh, this is a really cool special effect that this is happening, right? And so I, you know, then that light came through, and then afterwards I talked to Vanda and I said, what is the special effect that they do to get her eyes on fire? That's flames. And she said, there's no special effect. So that was one of those moments of understanding I'm seeing in another dimension without really realizing that that's what was happening in the moment, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting that you bring it up for you to make that decision. I had an experience a couple years ago, and similar situation. I was leaving a long-term relationship, and I had a situation that was really unfortunate, and I had a lot of my things that had been damaged, my clothes and things that were in my closet, and mice had gotten them, and bugs and things, and I had very expensive clothing. And so I decided to burn everything. And my ex was like, well, I'll take it up to the land and burn it. And I'm like, no, I got to do this now. And he just helped me start carrying the things down. So he made a bonfire for me in a wheelbarrow. And it had been snowing. It was in January a few years back. And so he made this wheelbarrow with fire in it. And then I just started bringing tubs and tubs and boxes of clothing. And I took off the buttons and the zippers and all that stuff because I could just burn the clothes themselves. So I started burning and burning and burning and burning. I burned tens of thousands of dollars worth of clothes. And at one point, my ex is like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? You know, your pajamas are in here. You're like you're not going to burn your pajamas. And I'm like, absolutely. Because this is what we were slept together in. We were intimate with, you know, so that was like the most like thing that was on my body with him all together. I thought, well, at least I'll offer this. I'll just keep offering it to the fire.
Right.
And at this point, I didn't really have a strong connection with all the elements. but they, you know, all of a sudden I'm in snow, and because of the bonfire, I have now water and the wind's kicking up, and I'm in mud and I'm walking, and I decided to walk 33 circumferences around one way and the other direction 33 times around this big fire. And then all of a sudden it became a lot more ceremonial, right? And the more I was burning, the better I was feeling. Like energetically, I was feeling a lot better. And then this strong wind came, and I just stopped, and my ex was standing next to me, and I felt the power of Sekhmet. I felt this energy just come roaring through, like, and it was so intense that I looked and I said, "Oh my God, Sekhmet is here! Like I'm doing this offering, and it's, you know, I'm burning up my life, like literally all my clothes, my memories of everything that's attached to it." And in the flame, in the fire, in the ash, all of a sudden there's a lion that is in the formation of this ash.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
And I yell, "Oh my God, it's Sekhmet!" And my ex is looking at me and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, look. And I actually took a picture of it and he saw it too. It wasn't like it was just me, like, you know, projecting an idea. No, it was there. And it freaked him out. I mean, it really freaked. He went to go get a shovel, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta turn it." And I'm like, "No, don't touch this fire. Don't, leave it alone." And then finally I said, "Okay, if you want to do that, that's on you, but I do not take any responsibility at all for anything that's going to happen, because I wouldn't do that if I were you." And I stepped back. I stepped like several feet back. And he went in and to turn it, and it was like a tornado of fire with all of these sparks and everything that went everywhere. And I looked at him, I said, "I would do that if I were you." But he kept doing it. You know, he did it a couple times, and then finally he just saw that it wasn't dying out. It was like inflaming even more. So he left, and then I was just standing there. The presence of that energy was so crystal clear that this was exactly the right thing that I needed to do. And I mean, this was decades later, right, from my experience in the temple, and hear that presence, and that it was such a powerful force. And then I realized that I'm now working with all the elements. I'm Sekhmet, and I've got like all these other beings with me, working with me in this process. And it was so intense. And he left, and then I was there to finish, you know, the burning and everything. And at the very end, you know, I just bowed. I mean, now I'm walking in mud. I've got like, you know, all this stuff is done. And I just bowed like full prostration in front of the fire, and thanked the fire, and thanked all the elements and the directions and all the beings that were helping me, and Sekhmet, and along with everybody else. And at the end, what showed up in the fire, because I let it burn out, I didn't like put it out. Yeah. A lotus appeared, a lotus of ash. Like, you can't make this stuff up, just appeared in the center. And that was the final sign that I got that what I did and everything was complete. And that was the day before I left to go to India for the first time.
Oh.
And so that clearing left, it's like another chapter, right? It's like the segment of my life is over and is behind me. And now I can move forward without all of that baggage, without all of that energetic ties. Yeah. And attachment, and, you know, obviously attachment to the relationship. But that was the final energetic completion for me. It was just done. Right. And there was nothing. And I know, you know, after that, I mean, neutral. Now, you know, was totally neutral with my ex after that. It was like no problem, no energy, no charge.
Yes.
And I find it interesting that you were at that place of changing your life, right? And making that decision. And she showed up, and here I was.
Right.
Which I didn't plan. That was not my plan to burn all my stuff, right? That was not like.
yes, of course. And these things,
But
exactly,
it was so powerful.
They come so spontaneous, but they are very. They have a very powerful symbolism because of what Sekhmet represents, but it's not only the symbol of this. It's a presence. It's what I think is that it's our higher self making a strong presence, moving. Yes, I don't know how to say that, but making a strong presence at certain moments in our life. And for some reason, I think this is available for everybody, because we can share our experiences and these synchronicities that happen. But at last, what is happening is that this is available for everybody, but you really need to be in a spiritual path to experience such things. And that doesn't make us better persons than anyone else. It's just that we are committed to make such a transformation of ourselves in this incarnation, in this lifetime, that whatever it takes, we will do, So I think that determination is what precipitates these experiences. Do you agree with that?
Even going like Egypt, when there was a lot of things that fell apart for me, that I look back as really tests to see if I'm willing to go that extra, like cross the other side of the river. Like, what are you willing to do, and what I had to let go of back then. And very challenging circumstances that I should have said no. Like, if everybody else was saying, oh, don't go because of this and all the things that were happening. And to me, back then, I always seemed to be set up like these challenges that I needed to overcome and persevere and continue to go through, no matter as things were falling apart, to keep that like focus and determination, like you said, that determination, knowing that there was something else bigger and a possibility that I couldn't access any other way other than going on that path.
Oh yes.
Right. And that's where the synchronicities and the connections and the path opens up, and next thing you know, you're writing. You're like, to me, you decide to get on the magic carpet, and it takes you. It's not even like you have control over it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it takes you and guides you and brings you to the right place that you need to be at, to meet the right people, and just that connection. And I mean, we did that, the ceremony with Moira Timms, the same thing. We did that raising of the Djed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a powerful experience. And I remember when we were all in the circle,
mm-hmm.
and we were drawing that line in the sand to connect. We were connecting all of that, right?
Right. We were at Saqqara.
Saqqara, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the last one to connect that circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking that I'm sharing a lot that I normally don't share at all.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking that it needs to be sealed in a sacred way. And the, like, when we were kids, we would like, oh, we're going to be blood brothers or blood sisters. You make a little cut and you share. And so I felt that really strong, that it needed to be sealed with blood. And I was like, oh my God, no. Like, who's going to make that offering? Not me, right? But I didn't say it to anybody else in the group, but it really came through strong. And the stick that I was using to connect from the one person on my right to the person on the left, halfway through it broke. And so I took my finger and used my finger to connect the line. And when I did it, my finger got cut.
Oh.
And so there I had the blood, right? And as I went and connected it, I'm like, you got to be careful what you think because now I'm the offering.
Right.
But I reached down to figure out what it was that cut me, because it was just sand and rocks and things. And I dug up the little thing that cut me, and it turned out it was a petrified seashell.
Oh.
That I still have on my altar.
Mm-hmm.
But that, at that time I was always asking for signs, and that was my sign that we completed a really ancient ritual, that this was the time that it needed to be complete, and we did it. And that was the sealing of that. That was the completion of that. And Moira did all of her work to do the research on that. And, here we were, a group of total strangers coming together.
Yes. Yes. But for a specific reason, which is, I mean, we all resonated with the purpose of that travel. And I remember Moira asked me in that occasion, in that ceremony of the raising of the Djed, to do the opening invocation. And when I heard that, I did it, but I kind of thought, why did she pick me? How?
Oh, come on, the thing is, it was so obvious to me. I mean, I think it was with the rest of the group, right? Like each person had their thing that they were there to do, right? Like Diana with doing the chanting into the crystal.
Yes.
But it felt like you represented the ascended masters in such a beautiful way. And do you remember Serapis Bay? I mean, that was the...
Of course I remember. That's
so
that's what I shouted at Luxor. But you know something, I know perfectly what you are, what do you mean and what you are saying. But to me, the ascended masters are more than figures for New Age adoration,
Oh yeah, no, I don't mean it in that way.
Go on.
Me, there was the energy. It's the embodiment of that particular frequency, that particular energy, that particular, I call, database of information that you really channeled through. And it wasn't just for us, right?
Right.
It was on, and to me, it was very, very profound for everybody that was in the group. They were all impacted by this. But when you stood to do that invocation, it was like everything opened up, and that energy just came flooding in.
Yes.
To consecrate the space and to set the energy for that. And I remember looking at you, and the image of Serapis Bay was there, and that's not somebody that I had a really knowledge of up until that point. But the presence, and that's what you said before, there's a presence, and it can show up in lots of different forms and different aspects, but that was very much present,
right?
And not in a...
No.
And I know they have, I mean, so much has changed from when we're that time slot in time to now, in the sense of how the energy shows up. Before, it was a big gap, Like it was dramatic. It was like, oh, how do I want to say this? It was, well, I'll just say it for me. For me, I needed these dramatic experiences because the gap was so big, right? Energetically.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's very subtle.
Right.
It's very refined. It's like right here, right? Like the veil is so thin.
Yes.
To the point where it's so transparent.
Yes.
Energetically, that is because we ramped up all of this frequencies to where we're closer
Right.
now.
Right. Right.
Instead of where I look at it is like, I was here and this is the energy, and now it's like, oh, it's like this.
Yes. Right? Yes. Yes. Yes.
So it doesn't feel new age anymore.
No, of course.
Right?
Of course. Of course. No, of course. But I mean, for anybody who listens to this, I think, at least for me, it is important to say this because it's a very profound experience what we are sharing, and it is not a new age ego trip or whatever, it's a very profound experience that really altered and changed our lives in positive ways, of course. Even if we go through crisis or whatever happens, it's a life-changing process. We are leaving behind patterns of behavior. You may call this unconscious patterns of behavior or karma or whatever. It's an absolute cut of that, and now starting a new phase, moving forward into a new phase, into a new way of being. But yes, I in that moment, some years before that trip, I learned how to use my voice in order to alter the atmosphere, in order to change what is going on energetically in a place. And it is through the power of the voice, or the power of the word, we may say, that these things happen. And you open, of course, the space for a ceremony such as this one to take place. Yes, those are very sacred moments, right?
Yeah, and that reverberation, right? It carries with you. It's something, to me, I've always considered Egypt home after that. Mm-hmm. Right? It always felt like that's home. That's where
mm-hmm.
That's where, I got captured.
And I would say two things. The first one is that lotus that you noticed after the burning all your clothes, did you know that Sekhmet's child is a lotus?
No.
Right.
No.
It's Nefertum. Really? Nefertum.
Oh.
And it's a lotus. It's the alchemical child. The joyous one. The lotus.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. See, this is what I love. I love not knowing this stuff and then finding out after the fact, because then it not only validates the experience, which, not that it needs validation, but it brings it to a whole other level for me to see all the magic that's happening behind the scenes that I don't have to logically understand or perceive, but it's there, it's happening, whether it's
right.
And most of the time I always find out after the fact, right? Like what you just said. Oh, I'll have to send you the picture, because it really is an amazing, and it's made out of ash. I mean, it's ash from the fire, right? It wasn't, and now that just puts it even more powerful for me, right? With Sekhmet first and then the lotus.
Yes.
And then that makes sense energetically on my path.
Mm-hmm.
The next day I go and I'm on an airplane to India,
mm-hmm.
and I was supposed to be there for a couple weeks, and I end up being there for 6 months. And it's like that. It's like a new being. Like I was ushered into a new life, right?
Right.
And all my experiences since then have been really profound. And I now consider like I have Egypt and now India, so I'm like integrating both of those really sacred, incredibly powerful, life-changing. I mean, life-changing. You know, Egypt was life-changing. India was life-changing.
Yes. And the second thing that I wanted to tell you is that the moment where you were experiencing at the obelisk that dimension of light, I remember that you told me that you felt it was, at least there was a very strong turquoise color. Yeah. That's the color they say it's Serapis heart. Oh.
Yeah. I got two now. I got the lotus and I got Serapis baby's heart. Oh my gosh. That's so beautiful. Yeah. But that turquoise color, like I happen to use it a lot in my interior design and my paintings. It comes through as a really strong color, but like I said, the color doesn't exist here. The luminosity, even with, you know, like all the technology that we've got accessible, you can't capture that luminosity. No. And the light, the purity of light that is in that dimension. Exactly. I know what you're saying, because I mean that's organic light. And well, and then we were also at the Isis temple one morning. Yes. And this was one of my strongest feelings that I have ever had, because that's when we were floating in the lagoon around the temple of Isis before getting down into the temple. And it was there is a little temple, just the stairs come out of the lagoon and it's a little temple. And at that moment, I just felt a very strong sensation in my heart, something that I think maybe just with the birth of my son and my daughter, I have felt such a thing. But at that moment, it was even stronger. And I just couldn't hold it more. And I just had to bring it to words. That happens to me a lot, that I need the word, I need the sound to express it. And that's the moment when I told you, can you stand up? You remember that? Yeah. In the little lagoon? And we were on that little boat. On that little boat. We were on the little boat, and I just felt this column of light coming, and my heart just opening and burning. And I just look at everybody in the little boat, and my eyes just find your eyes. And that's when I told you, can I honor my twin flame in the altar of your heart? I mean, at that moment, that strength just was released kind of in a horizontal way, like that, you know? It was like a pillar of light, and all of a sudden, when I just say that, it just became an horizontal light that just went all the way to the horizon, so that you were there. And I find this amazing and very strong, because it really started a moment in which this alchemical process of the female and the masculine energies started working so strong in me. But it was nice having you there, and you immediately said yes. I remember when I felt that energy. I mean, when I stood up, it was the same. It was like that the light that went flooding out. I mean, it wasn't even, it went out all the way through, like not just to our boat. It just went all the way through. Right. And that heart, because I said yes, my heart opened in a way that it was like, I felt like dimensions just in the cosmos open as well. Like, it was like a gateway.
Yes.
A door that was like, that honoring that you did, and then me to say yes, and then to be open to receive that, right? It was like a key. But I'm going to say it was like a key that unlocked something. Because at that moment, everything, it was like we all went into another level of light.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yes. And that was before we went to Philae, Temple of Isis.
Philae, yeah, the Temple of Isis, right.
And it opened me in a way that I didn't realize how receptive that energy, like once you open and that you receive that energy and you start to embody that, or like what I say, washes over you.
Oh, yes.
It like washed over me. It was like another level of clearing and cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we landed with our little boat and I stepped onto the ground of the temple, the holiness of the place.
Oh, yes.
The holiness. I was hysterically crying. I couldn't stop crying.
Right.
I hadn't even seen the temple yet. It was just, tears were just pouring and pouring. And I remember taking off my shoes and full prostration in the ground.
Yeah.
And I couldn't walk. I was so emotionally moved, and I felt like the Holy of Holies had opened up.
Right.
And that was when I started having past life memories of that temple and my experiences that I had there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the rest of the group and everybody was walking, and I was a little mortified that other tourists were like just looking at it like the architectural stuff and isn't this cool, and taking pictures, and all I wanted to do was make everybody take off their shoes and go down on the ground and walk on their hands and knees. I mean, that's how I felt in that space. And I did the full prostration all the way to the Holy of Holies in that temple. And I remember being like, I was crying so much that when I was laying down on the dirt and I was breathing in, the dirt was going up into my nose and into my mouth, and none of it mattered. I mean, the water was just pouring out, right? And I had just felt my heart. I mean, you started it on the boat, and then it just did not stop at that point. And realizing all the ceremonies that had been done, all the rituals, all the, my past lives there, the other people, I was able to see other dimensions and other aspects of
yes,
the thousands of years of worship and of devotion and dedication and effort, and to hold these temples of light,
yes,
for humanity, for the earth. And I mean, even talking about it now, it just it's like it takes your breath away. It takes your breath away. It's like, oh yeah, that was
yes.
So profound. I mean, we're just talking about these, it was just a tour, but it was so many avenues open, so many dimensions open.
Because I think that, I mean, you have been you have also traveled to India. I've also traveled to India and to other places, even here in Mexico, some pre-Hispanic spaces or places, etc. But you know, when you enter such a temple with the attitude or the purpose that with which we were traveling, that becomes an initiatic path, right? It's a path of initiation, where these things happen. And we were there, and that was exactly what we lived. And I agree with you in one thing, that at least in Egypt, it was in a very dramatic way. In a very dramatic way, because that's what our bodies needed in order kind of to shake or to awake, to be cleansed, to be prepared, and to walk life holding this light, this level of consciousness, which you all said, it's like a gap that has been closing and closing and closing, because at least in this 3D, it is through time that you attain something, but it was already there.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's right.
Right, it's always there. I mean,
always there.
It's always now. It's always now. It's always here, 100%.
Yes.
It's just our ability to have that perception.
Exactly.
And to open to in the subtleties, and it's such a rarefied energy, right? And that's when, like, you can go into a temple and or a church or a synagogue or any of these places where people do their devotion, where they are there doing whatever, whether it's singing, chanting, rituals, whatever, but it brings a vibration, it brings a tone, right? And if you think about that, energy is imbued into that space. And some places it's been imbued for thousands and thousands of years. Other places it's, you know, it's new, it's happening, but it's newer. But if you come in with that openness to receive, like what you did with me in the boat, right? Because you asked and I said yes, right? So in that, because you had that rarefied energy coming through, then we ended up matching each other on the same frequency band.
Oh, yes.
Right? And it's in a heart space that is undescribable.
Absolutely.
Right? And we've resonated in that space ever since.
Oh,
Even though we don't see each other, I mean, we're doing Zoom right now, but
right.
You know, we don't talk. It transcends time. It transcends space. You know, I remember you used to send little messages to each other and meet you in the etheric, and that really is like, oh, let me bring my consciousness to that etheric realm, and the connections there.
Right.
And because we did such sacred work that whole trip, and the layers of processes that we did, including at the culmination of staying the night in the Great Pyramid, and then the next morning at sunrise when, you know, the white sun came, and then all the doves were flying around.
Yes.
And I remember going to the heart of the Sphinx and feeling this initiation that transpired. And it was, you know, to have that Christ consciousness and to walk that path and to do it humbly. You know,
Right.
you don't
Right.
have to make there. You could just walk around in groceries wherever you're at. You're just inviting that
Right.
energy and resonating that out into the field, right? It's like we're little acupuncture needles and we're vibrating wherever we're going. And that trip to Egypt really left me putting me right in the middle of the spiritual path, like head on, and to really trust and to listen and to follow where I was being guided. And I traveled to so many other sacred places all around the world, and definitely had past life memories there and all these different experiences. But it wasn't like I'm going out searching. It was like an integration, like I'm capturing things and bringing them back, going, whether I was in Cusco or Machu Picchu or in Ireland, wherever it was like going there energetically and then bringing that back, bringing the lives that I've lived, the hundreds of them, right?
Right.
All these different aspects back and integrating that into the present.
Exactly.
And including India. I'm going back again. It's captured me in levels that I had no idea. And when I think about it, it's intense. It's intense. And interesting when we talk about Sekhmet, because there's Kali in the Indian tradition, where it's the fierceness of the divine feminine, right?
Exactly.
And I've been in a lot of temples in India, and you feel that, cleansing and that purification, and for me it just gets more and more and more refined.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. More and more refined.
More refined, and it's so subtle. But to me, it's just an incredible blessing to be called to go to these places, right? But you also have to be open to receive, and you have to trust. You have to go, oh, none of this makes sense, but I'm going anyway, right? And it really has been for me to follow that intuition and listening, deep listening to, okay, no matter what the circumstances are, right? To tune out sort of the noise of everything that's happening out here and just deeply listen, and then be willing to trust and step out of that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's, I find myself wanting to sit in meditation way more than I ever have, and be in these places of silence where I can retreat from the world, and my house is my temple until I go to the next temple. But to create that space in the energetic dynamics of that within my own living space.
Yes.
And to understand that the holiness in all things.
Yes. These, what we call ascended masters, are nothing more than different phases of one same Christ consciousness. Female and masculine phases. It's just one consciousness. But it is that crystalline consciousness. I sometimes say that it's like being naked before existence. It's just standing naked before existence, just nothing to hide, everything to show at the same time, and there is no problem. I'm here just to be that crystalline consciousness. We are that in the very core of our heart. We are that. That's exactly what we are. That's why we feel that resonance or that unified consciousness, unified field of consciousness, because it is that level. It is pure light. It is pure light. It is pure light. Yes. What a joy.
So that when you go into that, that's where, to me, it's there aren't any words. It's beyond words, right?
Yeah.
It's just a level of, I mean, all the yogis, everybody talks about this in every tradition, whether it's spiritual, non-spiritual, whether it's people's direct experience, really over the eons, it's been talked about and it's been brought forth. And I think that's what all these temples were created. Even, you go to France and you go to Chartres Cathedral, right?
Yes.
The frequency in there, the color of the lights, the colored lights, not the colored lights, the stained glass, that's the light pours through. It's to infuse you with that, right? And to awaken oneself to those aspects and those dimensions. I mean, we are here in a body, which is awesome.
Right.
But we have a body, we're not the body, right? I remember when I first came back to from Egypt, it was so radical. It was so radical to reintegrate into a bodily experience, right? To be in the body. And many times I would leave my body and then I would slam back in. Like the next morning I was like, oh, someone would wake me up, and it would be like, oh, don't do that. I need to like step down. Like I have to come back in an easier way instead of just trying to wake up and or be woken up to be in this particular aspect. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge to like, because you want to be out there all the time.
Yes, of course, because we really were in that dimension, or living our whole initiatic travel through Egypt in that level, and coming back to normal. It also was very difficult for me. I mean, I couldn't work, I couldn't function, in the bureaucratic world. As a matter of fact, after a month of being back, I quit my job and I started. It took me some months to get back completely. Part of me was still there, and it was coming back. As I was integrating everything, and not rationally, but it's an expanded state of consciousness where all this is processing. It's an alchemical process.
And it's whether it's Egypt, that was for me the same. It took me a long time, and the first time I went to India, and I'd been there for 6 months. It was really hard coming back, and it took me another 6 months to actually figure out, what is this? Why am I even back here? Like when am I booking my next ticket to get out of here? But to come back into my life and then making different choices now in a whole other way, going, oh, I don't really want to be doing this. I'm going to drop that. And, this isn't bringing me the joy that I thought. And when you're in those other, levels of consciousness, and to be with the sadhus and the caves and the temples and the frequencies that are coming in, and for me, the downloads that were happening, I'm like, okay, well, here we are. Now what am I supposed to do with this, right? Like,
Exactly. That's where I was going, because uh, this also moves strongly, kind of agitates our own shadow side, right? So a lot of things also come out, and we somatize, or we have to deal with different or difficult things that have been there waiting the moment to be released for us to move forward. This shadow side is also active, but it's not a bad thing, the shadow, it's just that we have been here for such a long time that the moment we decide to move forward or to do something for a higher purpose, then these things have to move. These things have to move, because otherwise we cannot hold more of that presence.
really, it's a lot had shifted for me in India about this idea of shadow and light and the idea of duality, right? I mean, I don't have that judgment or that perspective anymore, from light and dark and good and bad, and that it's like that the duality. I mean, it's here. I mean, it's definitely within this dimension. There's duality, but when you start to, I don't know. I just found that I don't have the same responses that or reactions to things. I've been able to shift to where I'm more inclusive in my way of being in the world, whether it's, I mean, from a person that's an organizer and everything has to be like really nice and neat and beautiful and stuff, to being in India where it's chaos and there's trash everywhere, and my first nature is like, oh, how are we going to clean this up? And then it shifted for me to an acceptance, not like it's good or bad, or, oh, these people should do this differently.
Right.
It's to say it's all, I mean, this is going to push us a whole other level of conversation, but it's all creation.
Exactly.
It's all creation.
Exactly.
And when we can start to take responsibility within ourselves that it's all creation, then it's not a matter of reaction or separation, or this is an aspect of me that I don't like about myself. It's like, oh no, let's bring it in, let's include it, let's hug it. Oh, okay, I'm an asshole right now. Okay, here I am.
Right.
I'm gonna be a saint in the next minute, I'm gonna be a jerk in the next, right? I mean, it's like, and you get to see this reflection within yourself, and then there's a place of choosing. Well, how does that feel? Is anger serving me? No. Like, how is that serving me? Is it good for my body? Like, does it make me feel? No. Well, maybe that isn't something I want to indulge in anymore. Maybe I look at what's the trigger. What's
Exactly.
is this? Never, whatever is happening outside is never really the issue.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's all happening within ourselves. It's all internal. We were just like,
yes, and we learn with these things. We become aware. It's not learning. It's becoming aware of how to be much watchful about ourselves and the processes of our own thought, and how our own emotions sometimes are so conditioned. So we're just unplugging of those things and bringing not a reaction but an action to the moment with the fullness of awareness.
that's it, and the fullness of choice.
And the fullness of choice, of course.
Right? Because that's just like, oh, I can either be reactive,
right?
I could look at this and then choose, how do I want to respond?
Exactly.
What's going to be the highest for all involved here, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I think one of the things for me was really understanding the brainwashing that I had in my life, whether from media, whether from society, whether from parental conditioning. And I always considered myself to be a fairly open-minded person, but then you're put in these, or I've been placed, I would say, in these circumstances to really push those ideologies.
Yes.
And then because of that, questioning, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And I've had moments where I've been in situations that were fairly dangerous, that I had to question my conditioning and my brainwashing that had filters that I couldn't see what was really happening. And and I don't want to go too much in this because it's a whole other trajectory, but that conditioning, it's like, why do you think what you think? Where did that come from? Is that a choice that you made to think that, or is that something that's because you grew up with that, or this ideology, or the media, or your brother, or the neighbor? Like, we have all this construct of who we are sort of pushed together, and to me it's like we got clay put on us, and we formed into this idea, all these ideas within ourselves. And I think for me, the spiritual path has been constantly removing this, right? To be this clear aspect of light. And I don't know if this makes any sense, but when you start to realize, if you're that clear aspect of light, the only thing you can see is everything else is that as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Everything else is that. And then that's where this reverence and, for me, gratitude and privilege and love and inclusiveness, where I can embrace
the whole.
You can embrace the whole, right? And it doesn't matter if it's, the homeless guy on the street, that I'm talking to, or a business owner, or a sense of, wherever, a plant, a tree, an insect, ladybug,
right,
a car. It's all an amazing to be in this dimension is extraordinary, right? It's extraordinary. And the miracles that are happening all over the place. I'm in awe. Every morning I wake up and I look around, I'm like, oh, I'm still here. Oh, good.
Yes, of course.
And then it's like, well, what's going to happen? I have no idea. I used to plan every minute of every day. Now I don't plan anything. It's like whatever shows up, and there's this calling, like I've given myself over to service. Whatever I can be of service, it shows up. And then I do that.
Exactly.
I do, right?
I think this is the greatest thing that happens with, what we have been sharing through these years. This call to action, to service, to extend, to pass the light, to extend the light, to move right from the cause, right? Because effects are always linked to the cause. So as you said, it's not what happens out there, it's what is happening within ourselves. So if we check what we are doing with our own selves, in our own mind, then we can find those keys. And I think that key, when you said that in the little boat that we were floating when we were before we landed in the Isis temple, when you said the word key, I think that key may be the ankh, the key of life, that is strongly established where I am. where you are, where everybody is. That's that key of life. And it's like, sometimes it's like a war.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my
A
God.
war. Of
I've
course.
got
And
scars.
I agree with you that Sekhmet has its, so to say, its equivalent, or whatever the word may be, in India, as Kali, of course, roaming the cemeteries, and it's the alchemy. It's also maybe the phoenix, because it's out of the ashes that the new is born again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like, all the things I burned, the ashes were the things that took form. I mean, it turned into the form of a lion, it turned into the form of a lotus. Like, this is alchemy that I'm not doing anything. It's happening, right?
Yeah, you're right.
The energy is working its way to manifest in this way, at least for me, to show me, okay, I'm not alone here, obviously.
Not alone, exactly. Not alone.
But the presence that comes through is really extraordinary, and that, to me, when you say the Ankh, it is I'm seeing it now in ways I haven't seen the Ankh before, right?
Yes, of course.
Because the circle on the top, it's going up, capturing it and bringing it back in, right?
Right.
It's like the body, the arms, and then the little,
Right.
body. But that circle, I mean, you get so much symbology in that.
Right.
But it's like, it's going up, accessing, opening.
Yes.
And then bringing it in.
Right.
Right. And just as I say that, I just feel this, like,
yes,
it's just the subtlety, that rarefied energy, just
right.
It just lands. It lands so soft and so delicately, right? It's like mist that imbibes the whole space. Well, that's a good lead into another segment, right?
Right. How would you call this one?
I have no idea.
How to talk to your twin flame.
That's it. You can do that.
It has been nice to be here with you again, as always.
It's just awesome. Just so awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.